You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to The Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, September night show. I provide you news on everything money, fresh information on market trends and conditions in our local economy. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. You can call the show at 1-855-400-1150 or go online to themoneyhour.com to get connected with my guest or talk with your host if you'd like to. And in studio right now, Jeff Butler with Haury's Lake City Collision Automobile Property Damage Claims. And the question I want to ask you today, are you a victim of unsafe repairs? Or do you want to make sure you're not a victim of unsafe repairs? That's what I'm going to be having a conversation with my guest. Jeff, thank you so much. First time in studio with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, a little bit about Jeff. Haury Lake City Collision and Collision Consulting of Washington. Jeff Butler grew up working with his family restaurant from the age of 12 till after high school. After graduating high school, he pursued an aviation mechanics license and business degree. Working as an auto restoration specialist since 1991, he restored vintage vehicles such as Alfa Romeo, Porsche, and BMW until moving his business to Lake City. Today, Jeff operates Haury Lake City Collision, an OEM certified collision repair center, as well as his appraisal and accident inspection company, Collision Consulting of Washington. Jeff inspects wrecked and repaired vehicle to verify correct repairs, write appraisals for total loss claims, diminished value claims, and dispute repair claims. Did I give a good description of the comparison between the two?
You betcha.
Okay, perfect. So starting out, are you the victim of unsafe repairs, and how would you even know?
Well, that's a great question, and most people don't. Most of the people that come to see us at Collision Consulting of Washington, they're looking for diminished value, which is recovering the lost market value of their vehicle after a loss, or their lawyer has said, hey, I want your car inspected to know that all of the damage has been repaired or not, because that impacts how somebody views what an injury is.
Yeah.
So most people aren't upset people that are like, hey, something's wrong with my car. It's people that think everything's is fine. And what we find out is they're not. And the statistics we have at our company, at one point about a year and a half ago, we said, hey, let's culminate the data. And what are the numbers? Because, boy, there's a lot of bad stuff. And our numbers, well, I'll just read them and then I'll draw a comparison. But 45% of the vehicles we inspected that had been in a real collision, not a little scratch on the bumper, 45%, we found so much remaining damage, structural and frame damage, the cars were declared a total loss. These are cars driving down the road and people thought they were fine.
Oh my gosh, that is crazy.
55% of those vehicles had remaining frame and structural damage. 90% had workmanship issues. These statistics in Washington mirror a study by the California Bureau of Automotive Repair, 4 or 5 years ago, where they studied 800 vehicles and found very, very similar statistics. So the likelihood is people think, I had a wreck, everything's fine now. There's a good chance that it's not. And it impacts safety and it impacts value.
So another expert and another reason to consult and have an expert on your side so that you've got somebody that protects and understands the process.
Totally. I mean, similar like the real estate appraiser conversation, right? You need an expert.
Exactly. So, Jeff, why should you never purchase a used vehicle without a pre-inspection from an expert in collision repair?
Yeah. So reflecting on the comments I just made about our accident inspection services, you're buying a vehicle, you want to know that it's a safe vehicle, and you want to know that it's worth what you think or you're going to pay for it.
Yes.
Nobody wants a lemon of a vehicle, right? You want to know you're buying a good vehicle. I've inspected dozens of vehicles that my customers are like, hey, I'm thinking about buying this. There was so much damage, these cars were totaled, right? And it's just, this is a car for sale on the internet or wherever it is.
Yes.
Most mechanics have no idea. They have no training experience around body and collision. They can tell you if, the brakes and the suspension are good. They don't know anything about the body. So if you're buying a used car, you really need to get a qualified professional that has body collision experience to do a pre-purchase inspection.
So, Jeff, how do you know if your insurance company is settling your claim fairly?
So we work in and around automobile property damage. Collision Consulting of Washington. That's where I write appraisals. I testify as an expert. Until you have a loss, you don't know what you bought.
Yes.
Right. And all insurance companies, well, they're different. But what you'll know is if you're settling a total loss, for instance, your car's total loss, and you need to do some research so you know what a real value is, a fair value.
Yeah.
And ask the insurance company how they generated their value, so you have a real comparison. And just so you know, consumers don't understand they have the right to dispute that.
Yes.
If you disagree, there's ways you can dispute your settlement. Doesn't mean you have to wait until the dispute's done to get payment.
Yes.
You can get what's called the undisputed portion of the loss, and then you can demand appraisal. Most insurance policies have what's called an appraisal clause. You can invoke your right of appraisal, hire an expert, and dispute the insurance company's value.
Yes.
And I've helped clients get tens of thousands in some circumstances.
Well, and I'll speak. And I got connected with you because of our own personal thing. My husband's truck literally blew up, so of course it was totaled, and we got connected. And I mean, $8,000 difference from what the value was from the insurance company after they appraised to find out really what the value should be. And it was a really easy process to go through. So yes, I've gone through it personally myself. So Jeff, how do you protect yourself after a car accident?
Well, so here's a place that most consumers screw up. They just don't know what to do here. So, I mean, this is super important. Take notes. At the scene of an accident, get out of your car. Don't move it if you can. It's not where you don't jeopardize safety, but take pictures of the accident scene. 360-degree view. Convince people that know nothing about this accident that you're in the right, and they can see from the photos how the parts scattered across the road, where the vehicles are located. There's no question about liability. If you don't do that, it leaves liability determination up to someone else, and they have an incentive to find it against you, right? Get lots of pictures of the accident scene, multiple angles, close up and far away. Get pictures of the vehicle damage, right? So you can see your vehicle, someone else's, up close and far away, so you can establish what happened. Remember, insurance adjusters are trained to minimize claims costs. Yeah. This includes liability decisions. They're incentivized to find in favor of what's best for them.
Of course.
Insurance claims and repairs. So number one, best advice ever, get it in writing. Communicate in writing only with the insurance company. It's the best advice I can tell anyone. And people break this rule all the time because they think, we're reasonable people. We'll just pick up the phone and talk to them. Yeah. You've got to get things in writing. If it's not in writing, it didn't happen. Before you call
We've
in,
heard that.
Yes.
That goes in our arena too with contracts.
Absolutely. Before you call an insurance company and say, hey, this happened, a loss happened, stop and write out your statement. Think about it so you can accurately lay things out and know that if somebody else is involved, another insurance company, they're going to look to shoot holes in your statement. They're going to look to construe it any way they can in their best light, not yours. So think about, I'm not saying don't misrepresent the facts.
Of course.
But think about how you're going to say what you're going to say. Put it in writing first, right? You get free legal consultation. Most lawyers, accident lawyers, will provide some free consultation. Don't hesitate to get that worked out before you file a claim. Getting your car fixed, demand factory parts. You have a Toyota, Honda, BMW, demand factory parts on your car. They're tested and engineered for your vehicle. Don't accept anything else. There's lots to be said around factory parts, but you can make that demand. Get a written response from your insurance company or the repair shop. I want my car fixed to pre-loss condition with factory parts. Confirm that's happening. Get it in writing.
Great advice. So, Jeff, how can you get your vehicle repaired to OEM specifications after an accident?
Well, so kind of following up on what I just said, one of the things we did, because this comes up constantly when I inspect vehicles and I read a repair order and I say, gosh, Tina, you have a 1-year-old Toyota. Did you okay all these aftermarket non-factory parts on your Toyota or your Honda, whatever it is? And people say,
Jaguar.
Yeah, Jag. Not less for that car, but people generally say no. No, I told them I wanted factory parts. Insurance companies write appraisals generally that start low. And so we created a document. So it's a customer request for proper pre-loss condition repairs. And you can find it on our website, Collision Consulting of Washington, ccofwa.com. And it's like if you had me standing there with you at the repair shop with the insurance company, you get the benefit of my experience, which is a statement to the repair shop. Hey, please tell me that you are equipped, qualified, and will make the correct repairs following OEM procedures using factory parts, and you've got a warranty in writing from me.
Wow.
So it's a document people can just, you get to choose where your car's repaired. Nobody can tell you otherwise, no insurance company or elsewise. So choose wisely, do your research, use this document so you get the benefit of knowing what you don't know. My experience to get your car properly repaired, or if it's not, it's totaled and you can get another car.
Yeah. So, Jeff, when somebody says, insurance companies, they're all the same, and so I'm just shopping around for the best price, what advice would you give them?
Well, that's a great question. Washington State does consumers no justice with the laws around insurance for auto. There's such a wide variety, a wide range of what policies say, and there's not really much consumer protection for auto. Homeowners is different. There's a standard for homeowners policies. They can't just write anything in that. But auto is the wild, wild west. So it's a get what you pay for world. Washington State has basically no standards for auto policies for language that protect consumers. What I can say is do your research. We're as service providers, we see a lot of people. We see a lot of claims. We see the companies that are ethical or decent to deal with, and companies that are they are cost driven to drive prices as low as possible.
So you'd be good to talk to when making a decision who to go with for your insurance carrier.
Absolutely.
I'll talk to you offline after the show.
Okay. I definitely have some strong recommendations on who to buy.
Yeah. So Jeff, your car's been in an accident, it's been wrecked, but it's fixed and it's been fixed well in the way it should be. What does that do to your value of the car, though?
So that's a great question. So, question, do you want to buy a wrecked and repaired Jag?
No.
Of course not. And if you were going to, were you going to pay full price?
No.
Yeah, exactly. So diminished value, your vehicle's lost market value after a loss is something that you can recover. Diminished value is the legal issue. Collecting diminished value requires a statement of damages, an expert opinion, an appraisal. So you can seek out an appraiser and get an expert opinion
of saying what that diminished value is going to be based on that accident.
Yeah. So Collision Consulting of Washington is where I provide those kinds of appraisals.
Okay.
We investigate circumstances like diminished value, total losses, or even repair cost disputes, and provide an opinion so our customer can then go pursue their lost value.
Got it. So, Jeff, how do you recover your vehicle's lost value?
Well, so you're going to make a demand, either the at-fault party's insurance company or the at-fault party, right? And that's who's really liable, the at-fault party. There are limited circumstances where you can make that claim under your own policy, and that's the uninsured or underinsured motorist portion of the policy, right? Which is where your company insures the other party on your behalf. Right? Comp and collision doesn't provide that. It's really a third-party claim where that is made, and you're going to make a demand, and it's either they're going to pay that claim, they're going to argue with you, and you'll have to pursue it either small claims court, or if it's a bigger claim, it's part of a loss where there's injuries, and you need a lawyer for that. If it's under $5,000, that's small claims court.
Yes. So, Jeff, as I wrap my time up, I've got less than 2 minutes with you. I love stories, so do my listeners. So, a story of a learning lesson or a success story, anything. Just share a story as I wrap up my time with you.
Well, sure. So, purchasing a vehicle, it's a major expense, right? It's the second most valuable asset people generally buy. They don't do a good job of investigating those. So we've looked at lots of cars that were pre-owned certified, or had some statement or good Carfax. And I'm not saying that those things are bad in any way, but they're not thorough. They're not, I've looked at cars that had clean Carfaxes that weren't, or the opposite. Okay. So having a vehicle inspected is super important. So I've actually inspected cars that were purchased, 2 days, 6 days ago kind of thing. And people thought these certified cars with good histories were good, and they were so badly repaired. Like it wasn't like I'm nitpicking. I'm talking about massive safety issues that people had no idea what they were getting into, and they were driving death traps. Wow. So having a vehicle purchased, when you purchase a vehicle, get it inspected. If you've had major repairs done, people like to think, gosh, I went to this place, it seemed fine. I have so much data to say the opposite. Get your vehicle inspected. Safety is so important. And vehicles today, they're not simple. They're very complex. Special metals, rivet bonding, gluing cars together. they have to be repaired in a specific manner. If it's not, it can completely destroy the vehicle's collision energy management system. It won't work the same.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a get what you pay for world. Going to the lowest cost provider is not necessarily the best thing for you.
Exactly. So great advice, and one more importance of having that expertise behind you. Jeff, thank you for coming back or coming in studio. I'm excited to have you back when we have the panel with all of you guys. Just really the whole show about that. So thanks, Jeff.
We'll have a lawyer there too. It'll be good.
I'm excited. And coming up next in the Money Hour, investing in low interest rate world, Gary Kessel with Mountaintop Advisors right here on 1150 AM KKNW after the short break.